Hello there. What is going on, everybody? We have another leak out of Asmodee, France, and it is a crashed X-Wing expansion for Star Wars Legion. We've got a couple of images. We're going to go through all of those, and there's a couple of big questions about this particular expansion. We're going to talk about those, what this could mean, what it might include. Is it just terrain? Is there something more? Well, we know there's something a little bit more than terrain, and what can we kind of take away from what we've seen here? We're going to talk about all of these things in this amazing video. If you guys haven't already, make sure you are subscribed and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. That's automatically going to enter you to win the latest giveaway, which is for a $25 Amazon gift card. It's as simple as that. Also want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens compatible with Star Wars Legion. You are going to love these tokens. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com, use code CRABBOKVIP. You're going to save 15% by using that code. They're fantastic tokens, guys. You're going to really love them. They make fantastic gifts, too, as we are slowly but surely getting closer to holiday season. Of course, Halloween being one of the most important holidays. If you would like to get somebody a Halloween gift, also let your stores know these make for amazing prize support as well. All right, so crashed X-Wing expansion. We've seen Battlefield expansions. We've even seen other leaks of an Outer Rim terrain expansion coming out. Also, you know, we keep getting all of these leaks, and here's another one. And this one is a crashed X-Wing. So, look, there's not a lot we can really take away from this, but we have more than just the crashed X-Wing. At first glance, when I saw this thing, my thought was, wait a second, are they giving us another version of the Commander Luke Skywalker, Hoth Luke? Is it like, you know, like without the lightsaber? Is that supposed to be Luke Skywalker? It doesn't look like Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. It's certainly not painted up to look like Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. Is it maybe another named character? And we get a different view of the box here with what appears to be a female X-Wing pilot with long flowing blonde hair on the side. So that would sort of indicate to me that this very well might be a generic Rebel pilot character, or perhaps like Yvonne or one of these other characters from the comic books that's probably lesser known. So it could be a unique, could be a generic, might not be a character at all. Let's blow up the image a little bit and take a closer look. From this image, we do clearly see that they drew a face, and they definitely drew this character, but it's not kind of drawn in like a heroic standalone kind of pose. It's definitely somebody walking away from the crash. So this kind of leads us down a couple of potential speculative paths of this terrain set. Is this particular X-Wing pilot an actual character in the game? Is it an actual unit that you can use in a tournament legal list? Or is it more of an objective piece, kind of like the hostages are just objective pieces and not actual units in the game? I think it could be either, or potentially both. But probably one or the other. You know, we have seen actual units come in Battlefield expansion. So, you know, the crashed escape pod has R2-D2 and C-3PO in there. So you've got a unit in there that is kind of, you know, thematically synergizing with the entire, you know, the entire expansion pack. But then at the same time, you also have some packs that had nothing at all for somebody who's looking to increase their tournament playability. Like the crashed ATST. I mean, it had cards and a scenario with it, but it didn't have anything that was tournament legal. So unless you were just playing it as its own like fun scenario, you know, there was no reason to get that one. Same thing with, you know, the bunker. There's nothing in there for a tournament player. It's only for if you wanted to play the scenario, or if you just wanted the terrain. So if if you're somebody who's not really as motivated by terrain or maybe a fun scenario, then this might not be for you. So as we look at it a little bit more, we see that there's going to be 4 pieces of terrain listed. There could be more, but it looks like this is what we're getting. We're getting 4 pieces of terrain and a pilot miniature. And I mean, it's definitely a pilot miniature that is on a base, but the base doesn't really mean that it's a unit either, because of the fact that lots of other things have come and shipped on a base. For example, the Battlefield supplies, had the crates and the moisture evaporators, all that stuff. Those were on a base as well. So that's just kind of standard practice for them to give you a base. Now, this X-Wing looks pretty good. It looks, it's an actual X-Wing. You've got, you've got a wing up here. You've got the main body of it. You've got another engine down here. Part of the engine's been blown off. I don't think I've seen like a canonical X-wing insides kind of circumsected or whatever they want to call that like that before. So it looks like almost like a cutaway of an X-wing. So that's kind of cool. And then we've got this section over here that has the astromech. Poor little astromech droid. We'll zoom in a little closer on the astromech. So you got that could be it. I'm almost certain that this pack is going to have a scenario with it, like, recover the files from the, probably not too dissimilar from the crashed escape pod, where you had like, hey, there's data in there we've got to get. There could easily be a recover the chip from the astromech, the flight path or something like that, and maybe this astromech piece is has to be placed in the center of the battlefield, or this way you have kind of a small piece in the middle, or something to that effect. I wouldn't be surprised if that's an aspect of whatever scenario comes with this, but I think this is clearly, and I don't think there's any way you can argue about it, that there is going to be more than just terrain in this pack, because otherwise there's no reason for them to give you a mini. The mini means either at least that there's an objective that uses this mini, so some kind of special scenario, or a unit card. One of those two at least. Now there's also the chance that while the scenarios have their own battle cards, their own objective and condition and deployment, it's possible it may have battle cards that are tournament legal. If that's the case, then this is going to be a must-buy, because all of the packs that have had, there's been 2 so far, that have had tournament-legal battle cards have been, absolutely crucial to tournament players, because, hey, you're going to want to enhance the types of cards that come with your game. We know that AMG is fans of the battle card system. They like that aspect, and it's been improved under AMG. I think when they changed over to the 4 system, and where you don't basically, it gives, nothing's locked in and guaranteed. So if you're a blue player and you're like, oh, that one's on the far right, we're definitely getting that one, you don't really have that much control anymore. So it's a little bit more, I think, more well balanced, and a little bit more chaotic even. It's strange how something can be chaotic and well balanced at the same time. But it's it gives a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more control over the red player's actions. So I really like the way that they do the battle card system now. So any new battle cards that this brings is going to have a massive impact on the game, because those can largely change the way that existing games are played. But it may not come with those. It may only come with a typical scenario. If that's the case, then I think that's going to be kind of a missed opportunity. Here's why. If a pack like this does not come with something that tournament players will want or will need to have, if it's just terrain and a fun scenario, then it finds itself, because this is obviously going to be at a fairly high price point. It's 4 different pieces of terrain and a miniature. I could see, and it looks like, if this is in scale, it looks like it's a large terrain piece, very wide. So there's a lot of plastic you're getting here. It's probably going to be at least 60 or 70 bucks MSRP, is where I would guess. I'd definitely say more than 50, although probably less than the bunker, but maybe at least in the ballpark, because the box itself here looks pretty large. Of course, this is probably just a rendering, may not be final product, but usually the boxes, when we see this, is usually final product in most cases. So I would expect this to be an expensive item, but it's already competing for all of the existing crashed X-Wings that are already out there. I mean, if you go to the Thingiverse, you're going to find lots of crashed ships, and those are much, much cheaper. Even if you don't have a 3D printer, it's much cheaper to just go on Etsy or something like that, and or any of the other places that are already selling this without the rubble and rocks all around it. And the beauty of having a crashed ship that's already out there, out of all the ones that are already out there, they have these flat bottoms, so they work in any terrain. The problem, because the problem I have with the crashed ATST is that, okay, like here they're painting it on snow. So you can't use this terrain, if you paint it this way, you can't use this terrain on a green battlefield, or on a sandy desert battlefield, or on a lava rock battlefield, or on a stony path, kind of battlefield. You can only use this on a white playmat, and so like that's problematic, and that's something that the other pieces that are just flat bottoms don't have. So That's part of my feedback is like, if they want people to say, hey, this is a terrain piece I need to have, they're competing against much more widely available ships that are, similar to this, that already exist, and that are probably designed a lot better. Now, granted, I don't have this in hand. I don't know if the X-Wing comes out and then can be placed perfectly flat on any terrain. I don't know how it's exactly designed. But if it's anything like the other pieces of terrain we've got already, I don't expect the bottom of it to be flat. Especially, like, look at this wing up here in the corner. It looks like that wing is part of that snowy, rocky base. So, it becomes tricky. Now, granted, maybe your tabletop, maybe you've only got one play mat and you know exactly how you're going to paint it, and that's probably fine for a lot of folks. I know that personally I like to change up. Sometimes I'm playing on desert, sometimes I'm playing on stone, sometimes I'm playing on lavas stuff, sometimes I'm playing on ice, sometimes I'm playing on green, swamps or green grassland or whatever. So like the terrain that I end up playing on varies quite a bit. So I personally find a tremendous amount of value in terrain that can go on any of those, and so like those flat bottom terrain pieces are tremendous, and I feel like they're competing directly with a market that's already completely well established. So it has to have some kind of additional draw beyond just being terrain, and I'd say beyond just being a scenario too, because the OP kits that they're giving out, I mean, those are incredibly cheap, and those already have scenarios. The Dianoga and then the escape plan, or the more recent one. Like those. Granted, stores may have an entry fee to get into the event or whatever, but all those OP kits, they're already giving out free scenarios. So if they just put another scenario in here, I don't know how much draw that's going to have, and I think that's going to differ from person to person. So let me know if Let's assume this costs about $60, $65. Would you pay that much for a scenario that happens to have a terrain feature in it? I don't think a lot of people would say yes, if it doesn't have anything that's tournament legal. So, in my opinion, something like this probably needs to have a unit that can be tournament legal, or battle cards that are tournament legal, or maybe something else. It needs to have something that's tournament legal to get people to buy it. Otherwise, I predict it won't sell very well. But again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. The crashed X-Wing leaked, probably will get announced before the end of the year officially, maybe sooner rather than later, along with the Outer Rim Terrain name, which we haven't seen much of that yet. The other question I have for you in closing, if we're getting Outer Rim Terrain and a crashed X-Wing terrain, is this the first two pieces in a whole new line of terrain pieces? Will the Outer Rim Terrain have a single miniature also? Where will there be an Imperial? Will there be a crashed TIE fighter piece with an Imperial pilot? Does this mean we're getting more Rebel pilots? All of these are great questions. Maybe we'll talk about them in future videos. I do plan on kind of exploring the future of Star Wars Legion in an upcoming video series. You'll start seeing parts of that trickle out in the next couple of weeks. Can't wait to get into that. Let me know what you guys think. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible. Thank you for your continued support. May the Force be with you. Keep on rolling dice. Keep on keeping on. Trucking down that road, rolling up that hill. All right, that's enough. See ya.